chasing down a Ferrari 308 in a Ferrari Dino GT is quite possibly one of the maddest things I've ever had the experience of doing. Oh, listen to that! Magnificent, absolutely magnificent. Hey guys, and welcome to Petrol Ped, and welcome to the first video in my new playlist series Hammer Time, in partnership with Bonhams and the Market by Bonhams. Now behind me are two very special Italian thoroughbreds, a 246 Dino GT and a Ferrari 308 GTS. This is a double header, and it is really the stuff of dreams to get to drive the cars behind me and share that with you. But before we get cracking with this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Now, I upload videos every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 6 p.m. UK time, but make sure you ring that notification bell to be told when a new video has landed on the channel. Now then, I think we should start with the Dino, don't you? So I really have lucked out today. I'm going to pinch myself quite a lot because I've got the keys to these two stunning scarlet red Ferraris. Is there anything more iconic than a red Ferrari in the motoring world? I think not. But as I said, this is a double header video, and in part one we're going to focus in on this beautiful Dino, and then in part two we'll talk about the 308, which was actually the successor to the Dino. Now, the Dino was made from 1967 to 1974, so it was only 2 years into my life they stopped making this car, and arguably this is probably a car from my brother's generation, who are a few years older than me. But I can remember them talking about Dinos, and then when you actually get to see one in the flesh, I think this is an absolutely stunning car. And then the story of the 308, well, we'll talk more about it in the next video, but this car was made famous by Magnum PI driving around Hawaii in his Hawaiian shirt and his big moustache. But more about that car in episode 2. Let's focus in on the Dino. I think for me this is one of the most beautiful Ferraris ever to roll out of the factory at Maranello. Designed by Pininfarina, bodywork made by Scaglietti. I think if in terms of beautiful Ferraris, I think you are hard pushed to beat the Ferrari P3/4. I think that's probably my favourite car of all time, not just my favourite Ferrari. When you look at something like an F40, in terms of its iconic status and design and shape, that was certainly the poster on my wall as a kid. But in terms of beauty, in terms of lines and elegance and sheer scale, this thing's tiny. I think you're hard pushed to beat a Dino. A very, very beautiful car. So I've been very fortunate today. Andrew, the owner of this car, has given me the keys and said I can take it for a drive. I'm very excited by that. Now, the Dino came in two flavours, the GT, which is this, the coupe format, and then a GTS, which was a Targa roof. And it was powered by a V6. And a couple of things, this was a Dino badge on the car, not a Ferrari. And that's because Ferraris always had V8s. And it was named after Enzo Ferraris' son, of course. So what do we got in the back of this car? So in here we've got a 2.4 litre V6 producing 195 horsepower, which in today's money isn't a huge number, but this car only weighs 1,080 kilos, and back in the day that was a good power to weight ratio. The rear view of the car though, oh my days. Now, when I was filming with Vintage Voltage about 18 months ago, we went to QV Engineering, who are a Ferrari specialist. And interestingly, both of these cars are looked after by QV Engineering, and they've both been there for quite a significant amount of work. This has just had a full tune. And QV quote, this is apparently one of the fastest Dinos they've ever driven. So I'm really looking forward to that. But it is a stunning, stunning thing, and such an iconic design. And one of the things I love about, especially when we look at the 308, this kind of circular tail lights, the big 4-exit exhaust, is just a beautiful thing. There's not an ugly angle on this car at all. It is quite special. But let's take a look inside and then we'll get it down the road for a drive before it starts raining. Oh boy. Oh man. Now then, this is very special. The interior of this car, it's a real pinch me moment. I mean, these cars now, they're worth a lot of money, sort of, you know, 300 grand kind of stretch. So to be trusted with this car is something else. I've actually got quite a lot of leg room in it. I didn't think I would have, but I've got quite a bit of leg room. There's obviously the gated shifter, dog leg 5-speed box. Oh my God, can't believe I'm going to drive a Dino. This is absolutely nuts. Lovely dials. Now, interestingly, talking to Andrew, he was mentioning to the guys at QV that this car had a bit of a flat spot in the rev range just after 5,000 RPM. And they were like, you rev it to 5,000 RPM? No Dino owner does that. Well, Andrew not quite dailies this car, but he uses it all the time. So we got them to tune it so that it would rev properly, because the red line's just after 7,000 RPM. I won't be doing that today, but apparently it is really sweet when it's on song. But yeah, it's a very, very special place in here. So let's get some cameras set up and go for a drive. Drive my first Ferrari Dino. Oh boy. Oh boy. I'm driving a £300,000 Ferrari Dino. Jesus. When in the world did this ever happen to someone like me? Here we go. What am I doing? I'm driving a Ferrari Dino, people. Speed bump in a Dino. What? Okay, here we go. Turn round. I've navigated my first sleeping policeman. And I think if I turn left here, I've got a nice bit of road. So here we are, driving a Ferrari Dino. So, a couple of quirks, as I've mentioned. Third, apparently you have to kind of hold it in third. It likes to pop out a third. The brakes aren't massively brilliant, especially if you compare them with a modern day car. But already this car's special. I mean, honestly, so Andrew, the owner, I have massive thank you to him. I've known him for a while now, and when he first said, look, would you like to come and film with the car, I was like, yeah, it'd be amazing, absolutely amazing. And then when I got to his house today, I was like, you're going to come out with me, right? He's like, no. I was like, wow, okay. So here we go. Oh boy, oh boy. Now this car, actually, there's a book written about this car. It's called Dino Days. I'll put a link in the description below. So the guy who owned it, he's actually owned it twice and loved the car so much. He owned the car, sold it for, I can't remember the exact amount, about 45 grand. And then several years later decided to buy it back, and had to buy it back for about 250 grand. And then he decided to sell it again, and that's when it went through the auction at the market, and that's when my friend Andrew bought the car. But I gotta say, driving it on this road, it's actually, it's really easy to drive. I mean, I'm trying very hard to forget the fact I'm driving a £300,000 car, and the fact that when I saw one of these, we filmed with Vintage Voltage at QV Engineering, and I saw one of these on a ramp. It was a white one, and I poured all over it. I just thought it was the most beautiful thing. I'd ever seen. And if you'd honestly had told me then that I'd one day get to drive one, oh my days, that V6 sounds good. I'd have honestly just thought, I'd have told you to go and lie down for a while. I would never have thought it would happen. And one of the things I really want to do with Hammer Time, through my association with the market and with Bonhams, I'm going to get access to some really special cars. And the idea behind it is I get to share them with you. I mean, I'm very lucky, I guess. I'm the point man. I get to drive the car. But to get to drive a car like this is something very, very special. It's a real privilege. And many cars I've driven on the channel, you sit in the driver's seat, you look out over the steering wheel, and you get very emotional because it's such a special thing. And that's me right now. I mean, so good. I'm in the Cotswolds, I'm in a Ferrari Dino. God. Yeah, the brakes just kind of have to just, oh, it's popping and crackling and yeah. 6 years ago I started a YouTube channel inspired by the guys I'd seeing them driving cool cars and living a lifestyle, and I dreamed and I worked hard, and here I am driving, oh man, I'm driving a Ferrari Dino. Woo! To have a bit of a moment. If I didn't have the cameras rolling, I'd definitely be having a moment. Steering's lovely. It's got a really nice feel to it. Really nice feel to it. It's actually quite a modern feeling car in terms of ride quality. The thing about cars of this vintage, the wheels are quite small. They've got quite a high sidewall on the tyres. And this has just been to QV for a full sort of, mechanical workaround. There was a few things needed changing, drop links and other scary things. They put some new tyres on it at the same time. And it just feels magnificent, absolutely magnificent. Just starting to get used to this open gated shifter. The first time I've driven one of those, obviously got to hold it in third in this particular car, and you have to be really concerted with your gear change. You have to kind of really make a nice a nice real kind of poof. And then once it goes in, oh man, this thing. Just a honey. It's an absolute honey. It's one of those cars I'd love to spend a long time in it. It's a car that, I mean, it's massively intimidating because of I know the value of it. And once you kind of put that to one side and you just drive it on its own merits, it's a super special thing. And man alive, this is boyhood dreams. My two elder brothers, Robert and Stephen, are going to absolutely hate me because this was a car that they lusted after. I remember talking to them, like, definitely. In fact, I sent my brother Stephen a photograph of it this morning going, sorry mate, you're going to hate me. Boys, I can tell you now, it's every bit as good as you thought it was going to be. It's absolutely magnificent. A truly, truly magnificent thing. Anyway, keep back, pheasant. I'm going to end there. I don't know what more I can say about this car, really. Tune in for episode 2, where I experience the 308 GTS, the successor to this car. So we're going to up the power from 195 horsepower to 255 horsepower. We're going to have 2 extra cylinders. We're going V6 to V8. And we're still going from one icon to another. The only difference is, instead of a Dino badge in the middle of the steering wheel, in the 308, I will have a prancing horse. But for now, I hope you enjoyed that one, guys. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Comments below are always welcome. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to Petrol Ped for plenty more content to come. And I'll see you on the next film. But for now, you take care. Oh, I'm in the wrong gear. Let's get it into that one. You take care, guys. Drive safe. Oh, woohoo!